Female reproductive system. This system contains ovaries, fallopian tubes, uterus, vagina, mammary glands, breasts, gametes. These organs play important role to help in for production and transportation of sex hormones. Gametes are the eggs, sex cells that help in reproduction. They are called ova. Ova combines with male sperm to become zygote. Ovaries. Ovaries are small glands and resemble almond in shape and magnitude. They are located on both sides of pelvic body cavity adjacent to uterus. These ovaries produce sex hormones. Gametes are the eggs, sex cells that help in reproduction. They are called ova. Ova combines with male sperm to become zygote. Ovaries. These ovaries are small glands and resemble almond in shape and magnitude. They are located on both sides of pelvic body cavity adjacent to uterus. These ovaries produce sex hormones, namely estrogen, progesterone and ova, that is X. They are produced in females every month after menstruation. These ova travel from ovaries to fallopian tubes. They get fertilized in tubes itself before reaching uterus. Fallopian tubes. These are a pair of muscular tubes. Fallopian tubes are located on both sides of uterus, all along its length, beginning from the above corner to the edge. Beginning from the above corner to the edge. It is a funnel-like structure. To transport infundibulum and ova to ovaries is the functioning of these tubes. Uterus. It is an empty pearl-shaped organ that is located above the posterior urinary bladder. Its superior side is connected to fallopian tubes and its inferior side is connected to vagina through cervix. This shelters the developing fetus. The inner layer of uterus is known as endometrium. The initial stages of infant is called embryo. Endometrium shelters this embryo. At the time of childbirth, the visceral muscles in uterus contacts and pushes the fetus out to birth canal, vagina. It is an elastic muscular tube. This connects the cervix of uterus to outside the body. Vagina is located below the uterus and posterior to urinary bladder. This is counterpart to penis. It is a receptacle. During intercourse, sperm that falls in this receptacle vagina that will be carried to uterus through fallopian tubes. This is a receptacle that the fetus shall exit that comes to this via birth canal during childbirth. During menses, bad blood waste exit through this vagina. Vulva. Urethra is a tube that carries urine from urinary bladder to outside the body for urination. Its external ends, vagina, mons pubis, labia majora, hairless labia minora, clitoris, all combinedly called vulva. Mons pubis and labia majora both contain hair, will give cushioning effect to vulva. Above the hairless labia minora, there an erected tissue called clitoris exists. This clitoris contains several nerve ends. This is and meant for sensing sexual pleasure. Breast and mammary glands. They are located on both sides of thoracic region, Anahata chakra. When they get excited, milk glands produce milk and delivers the milk through nipples. Reproductive cycle. Ovum production, that fertilized ovum to be received by uterus for pregnancy is to be done in a particular fashion or process is called reproductive cycle. The ovum that is produced has to be fertilized, lest it will be exited out of the body by reproductive cycle through menstruation. This reproductive cycle happens repeatedly every month. It may take 28 days. In some ladies, it may take 24 to 36 days. The process of producing these matured ovums by ovaries is called ovulation. For this, it takes 14 days. Whatever number of ovums are produced, but only one matured ovum comes out in one reproductive cycle. Fertilization. When the matured ovum comes out of ovaries, it takes 1 week to travel from fallopian tubes to reach or enter into uterus. If the male sperm can penetrate into that ovum, then it becomes or transforms into a fertilized zygote. That zygote transforms into an embryo after a period of 14 days. From the time onwards, the embryo develops or grows in uterine walls. Mensuration. The matured ovum travels through fallopian tube. The endometrial layer in uterus grows. It will be ready to give shelter to embryo. Pregnancy. If the male sperm penetrates into ovum, it becomes a zygote and then transforms into an embryo. Then that embryo implants itself into endometrium. Then amniotic cavity, umbilical cord and placenta are formed. In initial 8 weeks, almost all tissues and organs are produced in embryo. In the next 9 to 38 weeks, the child becomes large and complex. Now, male reproductive system. Male reproductive system is meant for production, harmony, transportation of sperm cells and protective fluid semen to leave sperm in female reproductive tract during intercourse to produce and leave male sex hormones. Penis, scrotum and testicles all lie external to the body but attached to the body. Penis. Penis is utilized during intercourse. It consists of 3 parts. They are A. Root. This is attached to the abdomen. B. Body or shaft. And 3. Glands. And C. Glands. This is at the edge of penis. This is covered with loose skin. Some people remove it with circumcision. This penis is covered with 3 round layers. These layers consist of very thin cavities. Blood accumulates in these cavities during intercourse and hardens this penis. The urine that comes from urethra will be closed at the time. During orgasm, only semen comes out. Scrotum. Scrotum constitutes testes, nerves and blood vessels. These will help to maintain required temperature for production of sperm. Testicles. The testes in scrotum helps in the production of sperm and testosterone, an important sex hormone. Seminiferous tubules in these testes help in producing sperm cells. Excretory system. Now, excretory system. The excretion of waste products like urea, ammonia, uric acid and excess volume of extracellular fluids, balancing of ions, maintenance of pH and osmotic concentration is the functioning of this excretory system. Now let us discuss in brief kidneys. There will be about 10 lakhs of very thin nephrons in each kidney. These microscopic nephrons filter the blood. Each nephron consists cluster of capillaries called glomerulus. Glomerulus is covered with a capsule called Bowman's capsule. In this, blood is filtered due to pressure. Water, glucose and urea remains in this Bowman's capsule. Blood continues its circulation in blood vessels and reaches renal tubule. Chemicals like glucose, potassium, hydrogen, magnesium and calcium will be reabsorbed in blood. This way, the body needed water will be removed and the rest of the waste, namely urea, wastewater and inorganic salts only will be left in these nephrons. These wastes are then excreted through urine. The cleansed or cleaned blood will be sent again through veins to the heart by kidneys. Ureters. Ureters is a tube that carries urine from kidneys to the urinary bladder which is of normally 25 to 30 centimeter long. Urethra. Urethra is a tube that carries urine from urinary bladder to outside the body for excretion. Bladder. This is an organ that stores urine that comes out of kidneys. From this urinary bladder, only the urine is carried to outside the body for excretion. Skin. Skin excretes waste of the body to outside through perspiration. In this process, it maintains the required body temperature and rescues inner organs and tissues of the body. This is the largest organ of all, which of 20 square feet surface area. This is one of the 5 sense organs, namely ears, tongue, eyes, nose, and this skin. They are called 5 Jnanendriyas. Lungs. These remove carbon dioxide from blood and give oxygen to blood for purification. Integumentary system. Skin, hair, nails and exocrine glands all together are called integumentary system. Skin, hair and nails protect the inner body organs, tissues from chemicals, diseases and ultraviolet rays from sun. The required sweat, oil, wax and moisture is produced or provided by the exocrine glands to the body in order to protect it from dirt, dust and etc. Epidermis. The most superficial layer is called epidermis. It covers the whole body. It protects the dermis layer underneath that. There will not be any blood or blood vessels in the epidermis. It gets its nutrients from dermis layer. 90% of epidermis cells are called keratinocytes. This epidermis is of 4 layers everywhere, but of 5 layers in palms and feet. The innermost layer is called stratum basal. They produce pigment melanin. This melanin protects the skin from ultraviolet radiation and sunburn. Dermis. Dermis layer lies below the epidermis. This contains layers of nerves, blood and blood vessels. It is thicker than epidermis. It provides strength and elasticity to skin. It consists of 2 layers, namely papillary and reticular. Through them, the epidermis layer will be getting nutrients and oxygen. Touch, pain and temperature, etc. shall reach dermis from epidermis through nerve layers of dermis layers. Glands of the human endocrine system. Number 1. Hypothalamus. This is located in the brain. It is a control and relay center of endocrine system. Number 2. Pituitary gland. This is located in the brain. This is a master gland. It is having 3 lobes. They are posterior, interior and anterior. Posterior lobe. This lobe produces oxytocin hormone. It motivates uterine and breast contraction, produce milk. B. Hypothalamus produces antidiuretic hormone ADH, also known as vasopressin, and keeps it in pituitary. This helps in reabsorbing water from kidney tubules. Hypo means little or small. If ADH production is less, then more urine is produced. This is known as diabetes insipidus. Anterior lobe. Anterior lobe produces prolactin, PRL hormone. This hormone produces milk from the breast. Human growth hormone, HGH. If HGH is hypo or less, dwarfism occurs. If it is hyper or more, then gigantism occurs. Thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. It motivates to release thyroid and thyroxine. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH. It motivates adrenal cortex. Corticosteroids are produced. Amongst them, mineral corticoids and glucocorticoids are natural anti-inflammatory cortisol androgens. Luteinizing hormone, LH. This helps to ovum to come during ovulation and maintain subsequent circumstances. Follicle stimulating hormone, FSH. This is helpful for the growth and development of graphene follicles. The state prior to ovulation is a matured graphene follicle which is fluid filled cavity. This makes the ovaries to expand. This happens once in 28 days. Melanin stimulating hormone, MSH. Next, gonadotropins hormone. Secondary sexual characteristics, that is breasts, beard, muscles, female tone or male tone, etc. as per sex differences. These have got nothing to do with reproduction. Intestinal stimulating hormone, ICSH. This works to produce sperm in seminiferous tubules of testes. It takes 21 days for the sperm to mature. If the sperm does not come out of penis or ejaculated within the 21 days period, the sperm will be reabsorbed in the body. Now we will talk about interior lobe. This interior lobe produces intermedian hormone. This hormone controls melanocyte production. Melanocytes produce melanin cells. Let us talk about pineal gland. This gland is a peanut mass in appearance. Its stack is located and enjoined with the third ventricle of brain. It is located deep within the two cerebral hemispheres behind the skull and just below the corpus callosum. Pineal gland produces melatonin. This melatonin regulates the pituitary gland. Pineal gland is related to biological clock of mankind. Melatonin is produced in darkness and inhibited by light. The receptors in brain react to this hormone. This makes the body ready according to day or night during 24 hours. In that process, the brain will have perception of whether it is day or night. This melatonin comes out of serotonin. This melatonin works with serotonin and regulates sleep cycle. Melatonin helps in conversion of nervous system signals to endocrine signals and influences sexual development. Now let us talk about thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is a part of thyroid parathyroid gland. This is located in the throat, that is Visuddha chakra. Thyroid gland produces thyroxine hormone. This is related to basal metabolic rate BMR. Calcitonin hormone. This is related to the absorption of calcium by bones. Hyperthyroidism means excess of thyroid. This leads to increase of BMR rate. This energy expenditure exceeds the body needs. The energy expenditure exceeds the body needs. This leads to excess heartbeat, weight loss, over-enthusiasm, insomnia, swelling of eyes, goiter, and attention deficit disorder, etc. Hypothyroidism means deficit of thyroid. This leads to decrease of BMR rate. The available energy decreases than the body needs. This leads to obesity, dry skin, overweight, and hair loss, etc. The unavailability of a proper quantity of iodine requirement in the food is the main cause of all these problems. Even sex interest will also be affected by this deficiency of iodine in the food. Now let us discuss about parathyroid gland. Parathyroid gland is a part of thyroid, parathyroid gland. This is located in the throat, Visuddha chakra. This produces parathyroid hormone. This is related to muscles and bones. This distributes calcium and phosphates. Doing hum bijakshara chanting in the throat, that is Visuddha chakra, or cervical plexuses in the throat of the astral spinal cord shall reduce and finally remove thyroid related problems. Hyperthyroid, hyperparathyroid. Hyper means excess working. This leads to filtering or removal of calcium from bones and sent it to blood. The bones become fragile and easily break. People get osteoporosis and hence cannot walk. Functioning of parathyroid hormone will be inhibited by estrogen. Hypoparathyroid. Hypo means deficit working. Hypoparathyroid. Hypo means deficit working. This leads to lowering of calcium levels from blood. This causes tetany. Then skeletal muscles lose its strength and this causes cramps. Thymus gland. The thymus gland is located straddled across trachea and bronchi in the upper thorax, a bilobed organ in the root of the throat, above and in front of heart. Doing Yam Bijakshara chanting near the heart, Anahata chakra or dorsal in astral spinal cord shall improve immune system. Thymus gland is related to immune system. This lies in a capsule. Internally, it is separated by small cross walls and contains several lobes. Not only that, but also completely filled with T lymphocytes. T lymphocytes means white blood cells associated with antibody production. Number 7. Pancreas. It is located behind the stomach. It works both as exocrine, that is ducted, and endocrine, that is ductless gland. As an exocrine gland, it leaves enzymes. Organic catalysts in the small intestine through its duct. They are pancreatic amylase, lipase, and proteases. Pancreatic amylase breaks the carbohydrates into polysaccharides, starch into sugar. Lipase enzyme breaks fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Protease makes protein polypeptide into dipeptides. Islets of Langerhans exist in pancreas. They contain groups of both alpha and beta cells. Beta cells produce insulin hormone, conversion of glucose to glycogen, cellular uptake of glucose and excess glucose into fat are the functionings of beta cells. Deficiency of insulin hormone in beta cells causes diabetic mellitus. This causes excess of glucose levels in blood and this is known as hyperglycemia. This gradually leads to extremely harmful health conditions. Immediate remedial treatment is required. Meditation and chanting of Ram Bijakshar in Manipura chakra, that is lumbar, behind navel in astral spinal cord will ameliorate this problem. Alpha cells in pancreas releases glucagon hormone. Conversion of glycogen into glucose, glucose to fat are its functioning. Glucagon serves to keep blood glucose levels high enough for the body to function well. Now let us discuss about adrenal glands. Adrenal medulla. Adrenaline and noradrenaline hormones are produced in this adrenal medulla. They keep the body ready for fight or flight. Then changes in blood circulation in intestines, fast heartbeat, breathing and pulse rate, increase in metabolic rate, contraction and expansion in muscular movements, etc. will happen. Adrenal cortex. Here corticosteroids are produced. Glucocorticoids, example cortisol, cortisone, corticosterone helps in utilization of carbohydrate, fat and protein to the body needs, makes the body to withstand stress and strain, inflammations, etc. Likewise, mineralocorticoids, example aldosterone, are produced here. They help to maintain salt and water balance. Number 9, testes. They are located outside the pelvic cavity. Testes are located outside the pelvic cavity. They produce testosterone hormones. They help to increase male sex hormones. They create secondary sexual characteristics, that is body hair, muscle development, voice change. Number 10, ovaries. Ovaries produce mature ova. They produce hormones, namely estrogen and progesterone. Now let us talk about miscellaneous subjects. Number 1, blood. Blood contains plasma. This fluid is like water. 55% of blood fluid is plasma only. Cells will be floating in this blood. Blood provides the needs of the body, namely sugar, oxygen and hormones. The waste that come out of cells and in the end urine, feces, sweat, carbon dioxide from lungs are all excreted with the help of blood. Blood contains clotting agents also. Plasma. Plasma contains water, blood cells, carbon dioxide, glucose, that is sugar, hormones and proteins. Types of blood cells. Red blood cells. They are also known as RBCs or erythrocytes. They are more in quantity in the body. Hemoglobin Hb is a protein. Hemoglobin is a protein. It contains iron that transports oxygen from lungs to tissues and cells in the body. White blood cells, leukocytes. The immune system needs these white blood cells. They are also called leukocytes. Lymphocytes and granulocytes are the part and parcel of white blood cells. They fight with cancer cells. Platelets, thrombocytes, they help in clotting, coagulation of blood. Bone marrow, red and white blood cells and platelets are produced in bone marrow. Bone marrow contains fats, blood and stem cells. Spinal cord, ribs, sternum, skull and hips contain bone marrow. When we grow old, red bone marrow turns gradually into yellow.